What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. It's finally time to calm down after a couple crazy weeks. The ban slammed the market. You had Black Friday, Cyber Monday, sales, and tons of cards getting bought out. And now it's time for a nice, simple structure deck. Of course, there's a couple buyouts around this. Whenever you have something so mass put into hands, especially with an archetype like Dark Worlds that people go crazy over, you're going to see a couple cards start to go burr. But I want to take a moment to sit back and relax and enjoy that Tsuchinoko is on top of a set list once again. Look at my little pink snake boy. He's so cute. You would think it might be Skill Drain, but Skill Drain just got an easy access version in Mavens that's also holographic, so seeing another super easy version to get, people aren't scrambling for them right now. I do think the Dark World structure deck super long term might age well. I'm not a financial advisor channel, I don't know the future of card prices, but I do think that Dark World has such a cult following that over time people will see this and go, you know what? I loved Dark Worlds back in the day, and it might be a Dark World gateway back in the Yu-Gi-Oh! For many people. Now, onto the most notable buyout that everyone and their mother is covering. Coach King Giant Trainer has been bought out, and if you read it on paper for the first time, you ignored the buyouts when the Dark World structure deck got released and the OCG started to play with it, because you can see it was up before we've covered this. It says you can draw 3 cards. Oh my gosh, blow my mind, thrice per turn on a card, and so people are freaking out, overreaching, scrambling for this all of a sudden, and it is going. What I am not seeing mentioned enough though is there is a German advent calendar version, so do keep in mind there's another version not on TCG Player that you might be able to search around for. It is holographic, and then you're gonna have that written translation, people going, wait, thrice per turn, are you sure that's the right translation? Then taking a ton of time out. That's why people don't necessarily love foreign cards at times, especially with one they're not so familiar with, but do be aware there is another holographic out there. Then you have Akashic Magician. You have 2 versions of Super Out of Shadows and Valhalla that's not going too crazy, and then the first edition is baby bumping up in price. It reads that if this card is linked summoned to return all monsters this card points to in hand, and Dark World loves getting advantage back to be able to cycle, or danger monsters being able to do their things again, and I believe Team Samurai X1 featured this, so people are paying attention to it, and while it's not the craziest up amount, it's going up towards $4 to $5 pretty quick for the first edition secret rare. Tapio Cards has up 4 new plushies, and I love Wadapon. It's such an unsung hero. Back in the day, one of the OG cute cards. Moki Moki, Marshmelon, and Marsh Macaroon, along with those new field centers. Code WhatsGood5 for 5% off, and support the channel directly will work over on the site, and I think they've worked at a really good price point on these, and they look great. I can't wait to hopefully get a few myself. Forbidden Lance is getting bought out for the first edition. I haven't had to say that in a very long time. The lowest one seems to be around $18 before quickly $25. Let me know what this is for. Is it for a past format? Are people trying to, unaffected by spells, protect something from, I don't know, like Dark Ruler no more? What's going on with this tech? Let me know. That it tops something? Also, Imperial Iron Wall as the way to fight against Macro, D-Shifter, D-Fissure, all of those. It's getting bought out for the Legendary Collection Joey World Ultra, as well as the Super OTS pack version. They're going up there, so if you don't have copies of any of these have been expensive in the past, even for the commons. And we luckily do have a Tactical Masters release recently, so I don't expect it to go too crazy, but be aware at the top end, they are starting to both end up going up in price here. Grinmaju also, speaking of banishing, the super rare is up here, and that's what's going to happen whenever you have a fan favorite kind of deck that ends up only having one hollowed out piece. I have suggested this as penny stonks back in the past, and you can see, excuse me, my voice has been going a little today. It's around $5 to $6 right now versus the 3-ish it used to go for. Also, Silent Graveyard, speaking of everybody trying to take out tier elements and looking for techs around that, the common is worth more than the Dual Devastator version, I guess due to quality control, yep, and people not wanting to deal with it, and then also being in a tournament pack. And we'll talk about OTS Pack 9 a little more in a bit, but be aware that people are trying to shut off the graveyard, and they're just trying to find any way to fight tier elements, so both of these have been going up pretty recently in time. I have no clue other than DDD did well in the Chalice Slime monthly, apparently, so MBT's tournaments sometimes do end up hitting the market, but the super rare Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok here has gone up and spiked once again versus it having been chilled out for a little bit. So be aware this is going for a couple more bucks than it was. Finally, before we get to the cards that I want to talk about that I think I would personally be grabbing sooner than later, you have the Dracosac tokens. And at first I was like, yeah, I'm missing Auroradon. But then somebody pointed out, yeah, we're actually playing Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac along with the rank 7 deck that's pretty good. So specifically the Dracosac token is what's starting to go here and fly high, bought out all the way to $10. And I've got to say, depending on the format, what you're doing, like, it does make sense. It mixes with Dragon Ruler, which is overhyped as a past format, and also a nice token. I believe that the token for one, by the way, is the same art as the Haralard here. I'm probably murdering names. Sorry for the jet avian enthusiast, but seriously, this specifically is the one that is going because it has the Dracosac arc, which leads me into cards I would get sooner than later. Link Spider has had a lot of formats to where it was going all the way up to $80, super hype beasted, and it has fallen off all the way into $30 when we're going into a format that's going to be using tokens and people trying to fight that, and they're spending this much on like OG Dracosacs. You think they're not going to want to hollow out the rest of the deck? So I would get Link Spider definitely sooner than later, especially for the ultimate rare, which, yeah, it's going for almost 1/3 of what it used to. Also going way down in price over time, but actually slowly climbing recently, Zodiac Whiptail. Now, will Konami do the on the list, off again one day with this deck? Mayhaps. A lot of people like to speculate around it. It's at a pretty low point versus where it had been in recent history, is why I like it, and the deck does get a decent amount of attention on a Master Duel, so it might be something you want to pick up sooner than later. Firewall Dragon. Actually, the ultimate rare has been slow climbing here, not the craziest pricing. You can still get it around that $20, $23, $24, but I would say the ace protagonist monsters, and also just for, you have the Cyber stuff in general continually getting support, getting better, people seeing what it can do. This card is pretty integral to those decks, and I would think that one with the translation on it would do well. But you do have the first edition OG. I believe it's somewhere around like $3 pretty consistently. It's not gonna do what it says it does, though. You probably should carry a translation even for your banned cards, just so any clarification can be taken care of faster. I do like the ultimate rare Firewall Dragon specifically. Try saying that 5 times fast. Number 39, Utopia, also talking about ace monsters. It's been going up here after it was down. I did suggest it while it was down even further too. You have a lot of competition between the collector rare, the astral, etc., but I specifically like the ultimate rare. It looks pretty nice. It fits into a lot of people's collection. Number hunting, also, it's a good mid-max that's arguable to be over other certain ones, and the astral's probably the one towards the top, but I think a lot of people will settle in here, and over time, it's likely to age well. Specifically for this one, I like the EU holographic on Arm Dragon level 10, but look how down bad it is, under $20. People are willing to sell this around $17. I recall the first ed OG out of the duels packs being $50, $60, $70 even, and this is just a shell of its former self after they really punted it in and tried to cash in on the collectability over at Konami. So I do think the ultimate rare, specifically the very nicely textured EU variant, will likely do okay for itself over time as GX collections build once again and people go for the hero stuff and they go for Chaz second. But yeah, back to the point of Utopia, like I wouldn't specifically be going after double. I think it's due for a reprint at some point. I meant to have this first. I do think there's a lot to Utopia where you cycle in support every couple of years for Utopia stuff, and that's why I do like it specifically as something to get sooner than later. Let me know what you think of my picks in the comment section down below. I went with an Ultimate Edition this time instead of Penny Stonk here, Penny Stonk there. I know a lot of people love Penny Stonks because it's easier to afford something to go a lot cheaper for and proportionally can go crazy or just sit there for years and do nothing. But I do think that there's a lot of these that are pretty easy calls in my mind personally that will be useful in future formats. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. Try to keep a faster pacing with this one. And yeah, enjoy your weekend.